Welcome back to the Tuck Shop Podcast. We're rocking and rolling through summer. Hi, David.
Hello, Matthew. How are you?
Good.
So which one's rocking and which one's rolling?
I don't know.
We're shaking and baking.
We've reached the point in summer where it's just the days are blurring together.
And you're getting to the point you can see like the other side.
Well, here's the problem.
Which is bad.
Let me tell you why this sucks. And this is awful for me. I have a very loose relationship with space and time. I do my best, but time kind of like... If I don't need to know when it is, I'm not really conscious. It's not a thing.
Because Denise will say, "What have you done for the last 20 minutes?"
Yeah, it's like I don't need to remember.
Kind of sat here and watched the birds.
How long was 20 minutes? Through the summer, because we tend to work more, Sarah will have to burn vacation time.
Oh yeah,
so
I'm getting there too.
Like,
yep. Take a day.
Why are you home?
Yep. What are you going to do?
Am I going to go to work? Yeah. Is this Saturday?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm lost. I'm confused.
I mean, God bless my 95-year-old mother. Every time I talk to her on the phone, she still asks the same question. She's been asking for 4 years. So do you work in the summer?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Ma, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of job. Like I have to work all summer.
Actually, that's one of the things that most people don't think about when they think about the college side of things. Is there are faculty who they're like, well,
faculty administration.
We're out. And they finals done. I don't see them till end of August. Others are here. Like I said last week, we're doing projects, and I gotta. Hopefully, by some point, I'll have an update on something kind of cool. But who knows? Science, man, who knows? But on the staff side, it tends to be some of the busiest times of the year. You're closing down one academic year. It's the end of our fiscal year. It's the loading and everything that needs done for course schedules and housing assignments and stuff for the fall. So summer is a very busy time on a campus. It just doesn't fit that narrative of, hey, term's over, everyone's on summer break.
Yeah.
So
but
for all the staff out there,
so
good
if
work,
my mom's
guys.
listening, I'm working, Ma.
Does she listen to the show? You should give it to her.
I'm going to ask her,
Yeah.
She probably does. She might.
She might.
I'll have to ask her.
Good. But no, that's the fun thing.
Yeah.
Kind of see. I was thinking cool stuff still coming up again. Like I've been the last couple of weeks. If you're a friend of geoscience or an alum or just want to hang out with cool geo people,
best park in America.
We're doing get out of my office. We're we're still celebrating the kickoff of the geoscience department. We're doing a Pirates game. The link's down below. End of August. Actually, we're real excited because we're doing a Boston Pittsburgh game.
Yeah.
So Boston's coming in, and for those who know, especially because you'd be in the know of it from the department wise, Dr. Kerrigan is from the area
from the Boston area.
And a big Boston fan, and we're hoping that I looked at it this way when we picked the game. Somebody's going home upset, and it's either us Pittsburgh fans or it's Dr. Kerrigan. But either way, somebody's going to be ticked.
They can't end in a 0-0 tie. This isn't football.
No,
quote unquote.
But we're real
0-0
excited.
in the 900th minute.
They're always fun when we do them, and it was something that we as an association have done before, the alumni, but we wanted as kind of like it kind of hit home with the right time and the right people. So Geosciences was like, yeah, we're going to do it too. So all's welcome. A couple weeks ago you asked interesting question on the social media. If you don't follow, you should be on the social media following us.
Absolutely, it's social.
About the hardest class you ever passed. And somebody had mentioned about throwing at Earth and People, they had to fill out the whole world map. We won't make you do that at the ball game.
Sure, yeah.
We promise.
There will be no grading or questions.
But at least that's the geography side, so that's me and Dr. Johansson. We'll promise that. You may have to identify rocks. I don't speak for geology.
There was another question. There was a geology class. And I think the quote was,
life,
no, there was another one that a rock is a rock is a rock. Like it was the hardest class they ever took to pass because it was.
It's all what you click with, you know. They
don't though. I mean, there's interesting formations.
I took the last course I had to take here was economics with Clark Strausser, and I hated economics. I literally held it to the end because I was so nervous.
It's that one
about
that you hope
it.
that you don't have to take.
Yes. So sorry, Dr. Whistler, my boss over in business, who's our economics faculty, but fast forward 10 years later, I'm teaching it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my goodness,
But
how did I get here?
On that,
so you never know what clicks with you.
Referring back to that question of the week, it's interesting to that point how many people said, this was the hardest class I ever took, yada, 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 yada. But now I teach these classes at this college, which is that weird kind of like full circle sort of thing.
It is.
I was surprised at how many, and I guess it speaks to this, how many comments we got on that question, which meant to me like, wow, there's some quality learning going on here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That it's that people, and a lot of them, saying it was a hard class, I passed it, and it changed something for me in the future, or it contributed to what I now do in life. So, but participate in those, any of the social media stuff. Again, I'll throw it out. If you've got if you're a business owner and you want us to focus on your business and alum, send me the information. If you on LinkedIn know somebody that should be highlighted, send it my way. If you've got a throwback photo that's appropriate with a little story, send it my way. If you have a question of the week, again, that's appropriate, send it my way. Anything, send it my way. Or a fun fact that to be a fact, not a fun opinion.
Yeah.
About the university.
Well, good example of kind of stuff that especially if you don't know, but if you're not following along, you're going to miss. Former alumni board member, Jonathan Rutledge.
Yeah.
You would have not seen. Jonathan teaches at Westmont, local school district, and is a finalist for the 2027 Teacher of the Year in Pennsylvania.
Teacher of the
UPJ
year.
alum. His wife's a UPJ alum and teacher. They both were on the board at one point. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff.
And that's not
if you
the
have
first.
Stuff like that, we're glad to help promote
Absolutely. I'm not going to promote your garage sale. Don't send me that stuff.
No.
Not that kind of stuff. But
depending what you're selling, we might come to your garage sale.
I mean, I've had alum, and they know who they are, have sent me questions of the week, which I've used. Reworded them a little bit, but still used them. So social media is a social media because it's got to be social. So follow it, like it, share it, contribute.
The same thing with the podcast. Share it out.
Absolutely.
Tell
Same
people.
thing.
That's the way we can kind of, sit and talk to you.
You've said it before. If you think you're interesting, that qualifies to be on the podcast.
Yes, it's you'd be surprised. People don't see it, but they are. I don't want to cut you too short because I know you have to go to a municipal related thing.
Yes.
Because something for your work in Blairsville.
Yes.
Which is kind of nice because today's guest is the former manager of Somerset Borough.
Yes, and
alum and former board member as well.
And a nice guy.
Just honestly, was some of the nicest. Him and his wife are some of the nicest people. Dr. Ben Vinzani is going to be on the show.
Nice.
And we talked a little bit ago and about his time here and kind of he was in that, you said a couple weeks ago, that pioneer group in the 70s kind of coming through.
Yep.
Leaving a little earlier maybe. But good interview across the board, and it's kind of interesting that we can talk about Pitt and we can talk about time on the alumni stuff, and sometimes he and I end up just having conversations about local government like you and I do. And so with that, we're going to cut over to that interview and wish you all a great week, and we will be back with you next Wednesday for our next in the summer series.
All right. Stay safe.
I am really excited to see my old friend. Thank you for coming back, Dr. Benedict Vinzani. Thank you for coming up. Good to see you again. Campus is where you left it?
Left it
all those years ago?
I left the campus 50 years ago.
Your class, you were just telling me before we started, class of 74.
74.
What did you major in?
History and political science.
Why? What drove you to history and political science?
Well, I always loved history. Political science was always intriguing. Not necessarily politics, but government. There's a big difference between politics and government.
Very much so.
So at that time, UPJ's political science was sort of embryonic. There wasn't, there's a lot of courses, but you couldn't always get a major in it at that time. So I took history and political science and concentrated in both of them. I originally came from West Virginia, and my neighbor was the Preston County Clerk of Courts.
Okay.
And every time I would go back, and our family would go back to our town in Terre Alta, West Virginia, I'd visit with him, and he'd tell me about his job in government. And it was so intriguing that at that time, I think I was a sophomore in high school, and I decided, yep, this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to I'd like to study government. And that's what led me to it. And I've had great professors down here in history and political science. Dr. Alexander, he's a legend.
I talked to him this morning,
I
by the
saw
way.
him on my way in. I just looked in the class, and there he was. It was just like time stood still for 50 years. Dr. Robert Hunter, Dr. Hunter, Dr. Sheep, Mrs. Bennett, all the political science, like Dr. Corey, was my very last class here at UPJ in geography.
Oh, wow.
And I remember my very last day here, he said, what are you students planning on doing, after this class, after the summer, after you've graduated? And I said, well, if things work out, this is my very last class. I've graduated, met all the requirements, and if things work out, this is it for me. And I remember saying that to him. And what's really nice, I was down to meet with some students several years ago that were political science majors, and I was asked to come back and talk with them, and it was a great experience, and I appreciate that. I saw him, and I went up and told him that story. And I think professors, they seemed to be humbled by that, that I remembered that after all these years. But
I could, as somebody who does that as a career, yes. When you're like, oh, that made a difference. You remember that moment. That's an anchor point. It really does mean stuff.
It makes a difference to the student and the professor.
Yeah.
Or instructor, and it's UPJ was just so full of great people, students as well as professors that make a difference in your life.
So you're you're living in town, decide to go ahead and get your degree. So you come to UPJ.
Yes.
Nothing else? You never considered anyone else? It's a different dynamic back in this would have been 1970.
I started in 1970. The 60s had just ended. 60s were a whole unique experience. So the 70s started. You still had the Vietnam War and all the things that were associated with campus life back then. I never considered seriously any other fields. I'm from Somerset. Mm-hmm. After my family moved from West Virginia up to Somerset when I was in second grade, so it was a natural to flock to a major university 30 miles away. And I remember my parents taking me down when I was down here for just to check the campus out several years before I graduated high school. And at that time, as a young kid, you don't always appreciate what is close to you. And I said, yeah, it's a nice place. But I never really gave it a thought until like junior and senior year of high school. Said, yep, I want to go here. So I was very fortunate to be accepted. And speaking of the period, like 1970 to 74, we started out, like I said, with the Vietnam mm-hmm. and things like that. And it ended up in 74 with things like, if you're a fan of music, Ray Stevens and The Streak.
Okay.
Yep. That was popular down at this campus. And I remember it making Channel 6 News one evening.
Oh, wow.
Students streaking. So it was a unique experience, just a great campus. It's a great experience. And, I was, there were a lot of commuter students back then. And being from Somerset, we carpooled with 4 or 5 of us. And that's a whole other experience that you never forget. Mm-hmm. And I still have friends to this day that remember things that went on when we commuted. And it was sometimes challenging in the wintertime. And
As the kid, because in that period of time too, we were talking before we started recording that how that you're the second class that
Yep.
received a degree from UPJ.
Yes.
Proper. Did you know that was going to be the option coming in 1970, or were you kind of informed of that transition after you got here? And it would be, oh, you are going to get a 4-year degree. You don't have to finish in Oakland.
It was afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, I was fully expecting to continue at the main campus. In fact, I think I was in one of the very first classes that we had closed circuit television broadcast from the main campus for those of us who were poli-sci majors, concentrators. It was East Asian politics, which we nicknamed Chinese politics. And there were 6 of us, I believe, that gathered in a small room, just like we're here now. And we we're broadcasting live from the main campus to, for us 6 majors that wanted to study political science. So we got credit for that course from the main campus. And I think that might have been the very first time that they tried to expand the curriculum from the main campus to those of us who couldn't get all the courses here in Johnstown. But a lot of us, at that time, fully expected to transfer to the main campus.
And what was that like when they said, hey, no, you can actually just finish here and not have to do that?
Oh, it was great.
Was it great?
It was great, yes, because you had a chance to continue where you were, and with the great education and the convenience, obviously, of being able to drive back and forth to school. And a lot of us, for economic reasons, were able to do that.
The what was, and we have a wide range of folks that listen to this show. Whether it's some of the students, we have education students, we have alumni from all generations and stuff. But what was campus like physically when you were here as a student?
Physically,
you've been around from alumni events and association work and everything today. You see the changes. What was campus like?
Well, it was very different. After my first term, it was called North and South Hall. Biddle and Krebs were not Biddle and Krebs when I started. It was North and South Hall. I came back for my second term and they were renamed, and I thought, what's going on here? So you had those 2 main academic buildings, and you had the student union, and then you had the student union housed the library. There was no library. The library was not completed until, I think, 1974, one of my last terms here. So we didn't have that. Mm-hmm. The dorms, I think there were only 2 dorms when I started.
Oh, wow.
And you can see how it blossomed. So it was very different. And, it was a growing campus. I mean, it was not stagnant. As people became aware of the gem that is right here locally, the people kept wanting to come here for their education, and therefore it kept growing. But there wasn't that many buildings when I started, and it was very different.
And it's interesting to see how that continues, and even with now the addition of Campus Commons down with the old Metropolitan building kind of back. You would have been here, or at least around with parts of what would have been campus when that property was originally part of campus to begin with.
Yes.
So that's kind of the time frame we're talking about. So you sat in that last class and you told my buddy Bill Corey about I'm done with my classes.
Yep.
I introduced you as doctor.
Yes.
So you were wrong? That wasn't your last class?
Well, no, I was able to get through Kennedy Western University a PhD, which took probably 7 years to get. And it was a good experience. I didn't have to attend physical classes. It was an online, and I got it that way through proctoring.
Okay.
And actually, my advisor was from the University of Pittsburgh.
Oh.
From there, yeah.
What's the focus of your PhD?
Public administration.
Public administration.
Yeah.
Because we should probably talk about that. What did you do career-wise then when you left?
Well, when I left, I was in private industry for around 3 years. I worked at Highland Tank and Manufacturing Company in Stoystown, which was out of my major, but it was still a great job to have. And then I had an opportunity through the Somerset County Commissioners. They appointed me a planner with the Somerset County Planning Commission. So I spent some time there at the County Planning Commission in 1977 and 78. And then my big break came when I attended a class in public affairs that was sponsored actually by Penn State University. And I met the borough manager of Somerset. His name was John Kane at the time. I explained to him what I did for the county planning commission. And I said, I'm looking for a job a little bit different other than planning. So he took me over to his office. I remember him taking me over to his office, gave me an application. 2 weeks later, he gave me a call and offered me a job as his assistant. So it's amazing. You think back, if I hadn't attended that class, if I hadn't went up and talked to this gentleman who turned out to be the city manager, where would I be right now?
And we're talking time frame 78?
1978.
78?
Yes. So I started as the assistant borough manager in Somerset Borough in 1978. I served under two managers, John Kane and Mike Mahaney. And then when Mike Mahaney resigned to become city manager at his hometown in Virginia, I was given the chance to become manager in Somerset in 1986. So from 1986 until my retirement in 2015, I was employed by Somerset Borough full-time as the city manager. And 10 years ago today was my last day.
Oh, wow.
As borough manager in Somerset. And since then, I've been very thrilled to continue as a consultant for the borough. The new manager had asked me to stick around in a consulting capacity, and which is what I love. Yeah, I love government work, and she offered me that chance, and I've been in that position for 10 years.
We talked a little bit too about the concept that we for those who don't know, who maybe are alum or community members of UPJ that know UPJ and stuff, that they haven't. When you hear borough, especially like when you think about there aren't just tiny little out of the way boroughs. There are some that are pretty not just big, but also have a lot of things going on, a lot of infrastructure and so forth. And Somerset's one of those, because you have people, you have homes, you have schools, you have industry, you have the highway, turnpike.
We do. We have major highways. We have a diversified economy. We have an industrial park, and we're the county seat. We're the physical hub of the county as well as the economic hub of the county. We have the hospital, a great employer. So we're very fortunate in Somerset, and we're doing a lot of infrastructure work right now. Water and sewer. I think we're going $20 million worth of projects in the next 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And it's significant.
That's a lot of
Yeah,
investment.
and a lot of times you don't realize if it's underground, you ignore it. If it's water and sewer lines, if you don't see it, sometimes it gets ignored. Not like streets. You can see streets, you can see potholes. People want those paved all the time. You being with Guystown Borough Council all those years, you're definitely familiar with that.
No one wants to talk pipe and sewer and water, but it's actually the critical part that comes to it. And I always thought that was interesting, even when you and I would talk on alumni kind of stuff, is that I spend so much time working and having to deal in the Cambria County world, where Evansburg has some of that, where you still have the state 22 and 219 close by, county seat and everything. Yep. But there's this balance of the industrial base that the city and Richland in Cambria County is, versus Somerset. Somerset's that hub, like you said, is that big nexus for that county.
Right, because we're physically right in the center of the county, and it, all, as the saying goes, all roads lead to Somerset Borough, and we're surrounded by a Somerset Township, which even has more population than the borough, but the population is a lot less dense. The borough has a dense population. We have 6,000 people in less than 2 square miles.
Oh wow, yeah. No, that Somerset's always been such a nice little community. When you think about it, it doesn't feel big, but there's a lot of people. I'm always going to talk positively to Somerset Hospital because they're the ones who helped me so much when I was so sick and dealing with the liver failure. I want to talk a little bit more about campus and stuff, but I think before we get too far big on that, because you got to attend our student our social science reunion last year as part of our 50th our 50 years of 4-year. I don't want to leave her out. You had some help. I think I want to make sure got you back, buddy.
I did have some help. My wife, yes. As a student, there's things called term papers. Yeah. And not being a great typist, in fact, I'm not a typist at all, I would write the term papers, and I would ask my girlfriend at the time if she would type the papers for me, because that was a big help. And yes, she said yes. And I always joke with her that at the end of 4 years, instead of paying for her, let's get married. Yeah.
Well, we kind of we count her as an honorary alum.
Yeah, and speaking of that, she was given one little tag on one of the homecoming events as honorary alum when I would.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because she would always accompany me. In fact, she would be here today, but shopping took preference. So she went to the guy. I extended your offer, and she said thank you, but it gives her a chance to go shopping.
Well, you can't. We're recording here on Friday before this will come out on the Wednesday when it's 50 degrees out and it's been -4. I can understand wanting to not get cooped up on campus and go out.
Right.
But that had to be a big help having just the support that.
Oh, absolutely.
No matter what generation you are.
Absolutely. It was a big help, and plus the fact I even worked at a James Way department store. I don't know if you've heard of them or not. But James, I worked there during high school and college. And it's to get through, people did things like that those days. They had their wives type their term papers up for them, and she did a great job typing. Yeah.
Did at any point did you look around and say, because we talk to folks who change their mind when they're here and do something. Did anything ever stand out like, oh, I should actually take a class? Like, boy, I'm going to think about going into that instead. Or were you pretty much locked in on your love of that history and the political side? I was
locked in on history and political science. There were interesting courses like Earth and Planetary Science. I like that. My grandson even loves that. And there was other interesting courses, but nothing that would lead me to change any major or change my direction of what I wanted to do as a career. And I'm one of the few people that were blessed enough to get a job in my career, in my major.
Yeah.
And not too many people can say that. I'm very blessed, very fortunate that happened. And it didn't happen right away. I spent 3 years in the private sector, which was great. But my love has always been government. It's always been government.
Do you ever think about coming back and auditing a class as an alum? As someone who we've had folks who've done that on the show before. I actually have John Wozniak, our co-president, in one of my classes.
Yeah, John was on alumni council on one of my terms. Good guy. And so I never thought of that, but it would be interesting to do.
Come back and take a Dr. Alexander course again?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad to see that he's still teaching and still well.
That's the kind of the running joke around here, especially in Krebs, is that if Krebs were to burn down, the only people would be here tomorrow morning would be me and Jim Alexander, sitting in the rubble just talking about something.
Yep. It's good to see some things are continuing and some things never change. Yeah, I like it.
If you met some of our students when you came through, and you've met them at the reunion and stuff, if you had advice to give them, what would you tell them from your life lessons here?
Be as active as you can on campus. In retrospect, I wish I could have done more things, get more involved. You don't always get that opportunity when you commute, but I tried to do a lot of things. But in retrospect, I wish I could have done a lot more, been more involved. So that's the advice I would give. Do all you can. Get that experience. Get that college experience.
I it's perfect, because it's just one of those things, you get those connections. Like you talked about, there's friends and connections you make that you've never...
Oh, yeah. And coming back to the 50th reunion, I felt so welcome. When you were there, obviously I recognized you from Alumni Council and Dr. Spector. I mean, I remember one of the, when I retired, after it hit the newspaper, Dr. Spector wrote me a letter congratulating me and saying that he was proud of me as an alum. And you don't always get that with any other universities. I felt very, very warm, very humbled by that, and I told him that when I saw him. But I still have the letter.
It's a touching thing in the sense that, excuse me, you can't do that when you got 30,000 students in Oakland, or more than that in Penn State or whatever. It's part of the community, and I'll tell you what, my friend, we're very glad that you're part of our UPJ community for so long.
And I'm glad to be part of it. It's a good experience.
Well, I thank you for coming in and sharing your background and your history and your story with all of us who are going to listen and tune into this. I hope it was kind of fun for you.
Been my pleasure, and like I said, thank you for the honor of being here. I love it.
I'm glad to see you, and for the rest of you who are listening to this, we hope you have a great day and you enjoy the show, and we'll talk to you next week. We're going to go get lunch.
Thank you, Matt.
Have a great week, everybody. The Tuck Shop podcast is recorded live on the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown campus. Update your contact information with us by visiting johnstown.pitt.edu/alumni. Connect with us online via Facebook and LinkedIn, or consider donating to the university at give2, that's giveto.pitt.edu/giveupj.
This has been a production of Quantum Wave Media. Views expressed do not necessarily reflect the opinion of the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown.